She just said it.
Standard was what happened.
Went down Wednesday was the airman's one. Yep. Friday he got shipped to Czech. We were able to bring him back. You know what?
It's been easy for me all these years. Yep, I got my feeling out. She did.
And my sciatic was active. I just said to my wife, stay back. She can't walk very easily. We stayed back. And then Friday, that was, it's near a training base.
And then, you have to do another one, either west water, lay in the ocean water. Yeah. No, you don't pass. No, you said pass. No, you just have to. With the timing of your, like when you one time.
So, my first year in Vegas, we appreciate it, and I was not and I realized that's not lightning because it's right you just and the sound reminded me of a chance to sound that I heard military airfield. This is not the first time we just had it. It's just being prepared. This is the year what you're going to be doing. Things like that. 22 I said, just so she had to go away. And she said, I'm with her.
Monica, coming back to you.
Oh, yeah.
Slide like they made it.
And have those debt.
Right, he might go. Are you sure enough?
Yes, they do. Did you drop the seat? No.
Well, the meeting go there, flag.
They're gonna be.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call.
Mr. Art,
Here.
Ms. Cook, Ms. Falcone, Ms. Hassler,
Here.
Ms. Palmer, Mr. Stocklet, Mr. Miller.
Here.
Ms. Eisenhardt is absent.
Note for the record, executive session was held on March 18th.
11. Nope, 11.
March 11th and March 25th, 2025, regarding labor negotiations with Teamsters Local 773, potential litigation and personnel matters. Communications?
Yes, representative from BIA is representing East Penn Manufacturing. Would you like to address the council?
I know we had forwarded this plan to you. Does everyone have a copy, or should I give? I have smaller copies, so I know it's might be kind of.
That would be nice. Thank you.
Across the street from the street thing. See if it's on the back there for the street fair. Mason. If you can round anybody up to volunteer that day.
So my name is Dustin Rohrbach. I'm with Barry Dysett Associates. I'm here on behalf of our client, East Penn Manufacturing, to discuss the Topton trailer parking project. It's my understanding that this information might have been passed around to you, but just to give you a real quick, brief overview of this project, it includes the minor expansion of a gravel parking lot, an existing gravel parking lot with subsequent grading in surrounding areas with a landscape berm for screening to the north and to the west of the project site, and then also a minor expansion of the stormwater basin that's located to the south of that. So on these plans, you can see that there's a little red hatched area within the lighter red area that indicates the project site. So that's where we're looking here. And then also on that plan, you'll see that there's a yellow and a red light hatch. So the yellow hatch represents the area that is within the borough limits, whereas the red hatch indicates Long Swamp Township. So as you can see on the plan, the entirety of this proposed project is within Long Swamp Township. So with that being said, I'm here tonight to request your consideration for a deferral of your review to Long Swamp Township and answer any questions you might have.
What impact will there be to the land that's in Topton?
So there won't be any impact. There's no improvements, no disturbance will be conducted in Topton.
What about the water flow? Is there any drainage that will be going over the Topton area?
There will be a very small portion, turn it towards you a little bit. There'll be a very small portion. So water's going to leave the project site from the south. It's going to flow through storm sewers until it gets discharged on the west side of Old Topton Road, and it's going to flow through a channel, and then it'll flow through this yellow area down in here before it eventually reaches the Toad Creek. But that's all an existing channel. We're not going to just redisturb that channel or anything. That's all existing.
Is there going to be increased flow due to paved area or?
No, so it's all gravel area, there's no proposed pavement, but we are decreasing volume and rate for this project through the basin, the stormwater basin. that we have.
And Long Swamp is going to be conducting stormwater review. is
Correct.
So that is part of, so what you're asking with deferral is it still has to be signed off on by the borough.
Correct.
And generally, when the majority of a project area is in one municipality, the municipality with the larger part of the project area takes the lead in the review, but both municipalities have to be satisfied and sign off. So we'll ask to see the stormwater review that's done by Long Swamp's engineer to make sure that it's satisfactory
Before we agree.
before we would sign off on it. Now, I understand there's a conflict here that our engineer won't be able to review that, but we could possibly, if there's any concerns, we would be able to get an independent engineer to review it if we believe there might be any concern.
Did you say you were going to decrease the flow through the existing?
Correct. There's an existing stormwater basin to the south, at the south end of this hatched area here, that we're going to expand to account for the increase in, well,
Runoff.
the disturbance and whatnot, and any increases in runoff, volume and rate. Yeah. And there's an existing spray irrigation system that the existing basin currently uses, that spray irrigates on the west side of Old Topton Road, that was previously sized with excess capacity that we are now going to tap into.
Any other questions?
So you would probably need to make a motion, and you need this in writing, so the motion will have to include, to direct me to formulate a letter and that council signs or the manager signs or something.
Right, to Long Swamp Township and copy in BIA.
One of the conditions of our approval with Long Swamp Township was that we received a letter of deferral, basically approving a deferral from the Borough of Topton as a condition of approval, or that Borough of Topton would conduct it.
I would like to review the Long Swamp engineer's report as to impacts on us. Is that-
Council will be able to review, because remember that council has to sign the plan as well. It's not a waiver of signature, it's a deferral of review to allow Long Swamp to take the lead.
I'll make that motion.
Second, all in favor? Opposed? Carried.
Thank you very
Thank you very
much.
much.
The next item is from the Brandywine Community Library. They sent a request to Borough Council and myself to again hold their Tortoise Trek, which is a fundraiser on, they were tentatively looking at August 2nd. Is that confirmed date? Do you know, Colleen?
I just went by what you.
Maybe just the time, maybe just the time is tentative, so August 2nd.
Correct, yeah.
August 2nd, but the tentative time is 10 a.m. to 12 noon. Just like last year, they'll utilize the creek and have it a fun event for children.
Certificate of insurance last year?
I believe so, yeah. And I'll just, when I
Yes, you need a certificate of insurance.
communicate the approval, I also request the COI.
I was not able to attend that year. It sounded like a wonderful event and so I'm setting up. Was there anyone on council who went to it and were there any issues at all?
I had walked over and I didn't go right up into everything, but I didn't notice any issues with, anything. It was really cool to see Sheldon. I was busy, it was good.
You should, I don't know.
No, I couldn't make it, I was out of town for that. I wanted to go. There are about 200 kids. Just kids, yeah.
So they would need the approval from council to hold the event again.
I'll second.
Yes.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Thank you. The third item under communications is from Topton Community Outreach Club. Their 2025 events consist of the Easter egg hunt, the fish derby, and the parade with a rain date for the parade. The Easter egg hunt will occur on April 19th, which is a Saturday, and they request to use the playground area and the pavilion. On May 4th will be the fish derby. They use the creek and they dam it for the children to fish for the stocked fish that they throw in after it's dammed. And then they'll return the creek to its normal condition. And the parade this year will be on Saturday, October 11th, with a rain date of the 12th. So they just need approval. You want to do them singularly or all at once?
Do you know what time these events are gonna be? Is it an all day, or is it from this week? It doesn't say on this page.
It doesn't say, but
I think the egg hunt starts at 10.
they have a Facebook page where they're
Yeah, they have
communicating of their events.
And that's the only reason I think it said 10, because I was watching it. There, go over.
The fish derby is a long event. That's very early in the day.
I think they stay around like the fish service.
The night ahead, yeah.
Yeah, they stay over and stuff, that's a big event. That's pretty cool.
I'm gonna make a motion to approve this.
Well, I'd say
The
we
egg
all
hunt?
of them. Yeah, I'll say it.
I wanted to bring up, okay, that's a motion. For both the fish derby and the parade, are they doing anything with porta potties?
I
Do
have
they
to
last
ask
year?
them. Well, with the parade, they already get porta potties, trash receptacles are provided by us, and then the recycling was provided by them.
Okay,
So in
so
terms
we
of
pay-
waste,
We pay for trash and porta potties for them, for the parade.
yes. No, not the porta potties, just the trash.
No, they pay for their own porta potties.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay,
So
I think I would like to see a request be put into them for the first fish derby that they have at least one porta potty.
I believe they do.
I thought they did put porta potties down there for the fish derby.
Okay, just want to be sure.
I think I remember seeing.
Yeah, I think they do get one.
Right where they clean
Yeah, I
the fish.
remember seeing them, but
And what about the egg hunt?
I don't know how long it is, I would think
the
it
egg
doesn't
hunt
last
last
year
year
long.
doesn't
Wait.
last that
Yes.
long, like that.
Okay.
An hour maybe.
Yeah. It doesn't, I don't think it's even an hour.
They need that, but I don't know if they need it for the egg hunt.
Okay.
No, not for, I
Well,
wouldn't say.
whatever their needs are, they should be responsible for, is that what you're
Yeah.
getting at?
So we have a motion second.
I second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Mayor's report?
The only thing I got is all the sidewalk was done, and which connects the walking path to the other sidewalk up here, so it's nice. Now you can do a full loop without having to get in the grass or anything, so hopefully everybody takes advantage of that. That's all I got.
Thanks, Guy. Police report?
Activity recap for March for Topton Borough. 21 incidents, no crash investigations, issued 13 traffic citations, 1 non-traffic criminal arrest, 2 reportable crimes, 23 traffic stops, with 5 hours of criminal investigation follow-up, and 4 hours of court time. We took 2 reports, one was for theft and one was for an ordinance violation in March. A resident reported theft of a check from the mailbox outside the Topton post office. The check amount was then changed by somebody for over $2,100. I think it was issued for like $100 and some. This type of theft it's ongoing in multiple counties and states. Criminal investigator Merkel has been assigned the case. I don't know where he's at with it at this point, but it's a pretty common. People are using devices to fish mail out of mailboxes. And they take it, they look for checks, they what they call wash them, they change the amounts, and then if they take it to the right place, they cash them for the greater amount.
So they're not breaking the lock on the mailbox?
No. No, they fish them out of that, like where you put your mail in that slot. They're coming up with devices, and Fleetwood Post Office had one months ago. They actually removed their box now, I'm not sure. I don't know if that was their way of solving the problem, but it's very common, it's widespread, it's all over the place, it's going on. And including, we've had some checks stolen from actual mailboxes of people's houses. I think in Richmond on 222, we had a bunch of them stolen right out of the mailbox. So just be careful when you're sending checks, keep an eye on it, make sure that they're being cashed for the right amount, etc. One resident received a non-traffic citation for failing to respond to an issued parking ordinance ticket. A citation breakdown, 7 parking, 4 speeding, 1 obedience to traffic control device, and 1 expired registration. And I won't bore you with all the personnel stuff, but I'm still looking for part-timers. I've interviewed 3. 2 of them have returned the questionnaire packet. And that's about where I'm at with that. It's very difficult to find part-time help in today's police market, we'll call it. So still at it, still getting, some people are inquiring, but a lot of people don't have their qualifications or need, etc. So we're still working on that. Equipment, I purchased, replacing our 40 millimeter Glock pistols due to age and wear and tear, and I'm replacing them with new 9 millimeter Glocks. So they've been ordered. I should have them in the next several months. And the other thing I have coming up is our annual training, which includes firearms, defensive tactics, less lethal, and policy review to be held the week of April 21st, department-wide. That's all I have.
What happens with the old Glocks?
They get traded in.
Traded?
Yep.
When, towards the credit, towards the
Yes.
purchase price?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep, you're welcome. Anybody else?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jerry.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Excellent report. Appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Hearing of visitors? Nobody? Okay. Solicitor?
Okay, start with 546 Celia status. I've been in touch with the daughter of the late owner, and she has an appointment with an attorney in Fleetwood, and I'll be able to report back more next month about getting the estate opened up. She apologized, she's been extremely busy at work, but she's working on this matter. 534 Marshall Avenue, lien for unpaid borough bills. Stacy, do you know how much is outstanding?
At this time, $1,000 that was never paid at the last time when this was brought to council. They paid a portion of the maintenance kind of expenses that the borough had incurred, not the water sewer. They paid that off and changed the payment plan that I had presented to them to be monthly, and changed that to one-time payment, and we never received it in March. They also were very late with their water sewer, but at the last minute did pay. And when we contacted the owners, it was very hard. They would not communicate, and the last communication we had was not taking this debt seriously. That's why I've brought it at this amount to council before it gets any higher. And we don't want to go back into maintaining another property and incurring more costs now that spring is on its way.
A lot of municipalities have a threshold for leaning a property at a certain amount owed. For some, it's 500, others it's $750 or $1,000. So it wouldn't be out of the question to begin the process of leaning the property over $1,000. What generally happens is that in order to collect attorney's fees, you need to give a 30-day notice. So we would send a notice letter to the owner of the property that of intention to lien the property and collect all costs and fees, including attorney's fees. Many times that moves the priority up and takes care of the problem. If it doesn't, 30 days, you can file a lien for that amount. it doesn't necessarily get it paid immediately, but it acts as a cloud on the title, so if the property is sold, then it's going to be paid off at closing on the property in order to clear the title. So eventually, the borough would get its money.
But it doesn't speed things up if this person is gonna live there another 20 years and they just are not interested in paying.
No, it doesn't now. You can execute, execute on these liens, but that would be the option of council to do so.
Stacy, can I have the dates of all the communications with these people, please?
Okay, so October 15th, 2024, 11 a.m. Then it was February 28th, because it was coming due in March. So contacted both parties, both owners again, left messages multiple times, and then we joined the communications with trying to collect water sewer at the same time we were trying to collect the
And
step.
what was the date of that?
That is recorded by our treasurer, so I would have to check her records.
So that would have been sometime in March, approximately, would you say?
Yes, because shut off was last Monday.
But it looks like there's been ongoing issues since last year already. Because, right, I mean, this letter is from last year.
Right, that's why I'm asking, because
Yes.
this is very dated, this letter, so I didn't know,
Right.
I just want to
No,
see what the
but-
dates were.
Right,
Yeah.
But it said it would
So
be
you
a
have March 15th here, was it as a due date, so I'm assuming you talked to them early March probably, to make that note?
February 28th.
So it's been an ongoing issue.
So
Right.
they did not
Yes.
want to accept in
Yes.
September of 2024 a monthly payment plan. They wanted to pay it all mid-March of this year,
Yeah.
and then defaulted
Right.
completely.
So I'm good with it, I mean,
Yeah, we need to do this. Yeah.
All right, so what I'll need is a motion then to begin the process to lien the property at 534 Marshall.
I'll make that motion.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, Leon and I'll call you tomorrow to get the information.
Sounds good, thank you.
All right. Meeting with International Brotherhood of Teamsters Local 773, that was already noted earlier in the agenda that 2 executive sessions took place. You see in the agenda amendment of agreement with the fire company. Fire company is reviewing, so we'll carry that to next month. And then proposals for IT services, to review and select. Those are professional services that were put out in RFP as opposed to a sealed bid process.
Do you want to take the lead?
Does anybody have any questions? Pertaining to the proposals for the spreadsheet?
And understand with professional services and RFPs that price is only one criteria for a decision. It's also whether the service meets your needs. So the price is not the only criteria that council is going to be looking at. It's one of several.
I'll do one, I mean, even though the one provider would have an increase, the yearly set increase, I feel that that increase is something small compared to the headaches that, are currently in place with the provider now.
I wonder if council knows something. In one of the proposals, they had listed some references, and I actually knew one of the references, and I called them, and I've got exceptionally positive comments on the one company called Solve IT. I just thought I'd let everyone know that.
So it was a positive
When
reference?
They said they're exceptional.
Okay.
Had nothing but the highest thing to say, and they've been with them for years.
Okay.
And they've been providing exceptional service, so I was pretty happy to hear that from one of the people they currently work with.
Okay, and they're the ones that have the automatic 4% increase, but
Right,
if you're getting exceptional service, a 4% increase is nothing for good service.
Well, that's the
And keep
least of
everything-
my concern, it's
Yeah,
really all
exactly.
these other things that are here.
You
And
know,
they did email today and said they'd be available for any questions to make too, if anybody had questions for them specifically.
no, but I was gonna ask about references, but you.
And my thought is that whatever makes this as easy as possible in our business office, because they're the ones that
Yes.
they're the ones that have to deal with these issues, so, just wanted to let you all know, I did research some of the information that was in their proposal.
And with them, it's a 3-year contract, but we can cancel. With that, we can cancel without penalty.
It was 60 days
Yes.
notice.
Correct.
Yeah, all of them,
Yeah.
like some kind of 30 to 60 days.
And I would, do we need to make a motion?
You need a motion to accept the proposal of whichever one you select, yeah.
I would like to make a motion to accept
Accept
Salati.
Accept the proposal of Salvati.
Salati, yes.
Second.
Second.
All in favor for Salvati?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
Thank you, Julie, for doing all that work.
Okay, the next item is intermunicipal agreements with Luther Meadows and Heilman House. Last month, we had a presentation from Diacon regarding 2 buildings on the Lutheran Home campus, which were Luther Meadows and Heilman House, that for financing and regulatory purposes needed to be broken away from the campus for purposes of water and sewer. Right now, both are on well water and bulk customer arrangement for sewer. And what they have requested was the ability to break away from the bulk customer arrangement so that each building would be a bulk customer. It would not add any capacity to the current sewer system because they are already connected, but they would be purchasing, 105 EDUs, total 52 for one and 53 for the other. So you'd be creating 2 new bulk customers, basically, by doing this, as well as connecting them to the borough's water system. I believe some questions came up regarding the agreement with the Lutheran Home, which was 1973, in effect until 2033, and amended in 2002. Did everyone receive, Stacy sent you a memo that I had done analyzing that agreement over the weekend. Does anyone have any questions about the current agreement in place between the borough and the Lutheran Home? The 2002 amendment was put in place because of the recreation of the Borough Authority for financing purposes in 2001. There were also questions, I believe, regarding any additional costs that could be incurred, and the answer is there will not be, and we will be making sure that the agreement is drafted so that all costs are on the Lutheran Home or the 2 entities, the 2 LLCs, which own the properties. There will be no cost to the borough or the authority for construction or maintenance. It will be actually revenue positives because they're going to be purchasing the sewer EDUs, connecting to the water system. There will be metering in place at those additional 2 locations. And there will not be additional administrative costs for this. Also, professional fees, Barry Azette and Associates and Kozlov Stout. We will be creating a separate matter for the finalization of these agreements. You saw the drafts last month, and they'll be finalized to ensure that there will be no cost. I believe it's already drafted into the agreement, but I will be redoubling that.
So there's clarity, the purchased EDUs would be water, as long as the home is transferring the sewer EDUs to the folks when they document that. Because the home has its own water system. Because of the way water systems are constructed, generally with these, we would take dedication of that blue line, as if it would become your property, or the authority's property coming through, because you have to have a point where a private system starts and a public, and it's usually the metering at the building. If not, we would have to have them put in a big vault that has backflow preventers and those type of things out in the roads, because there has to be that installed at the junction between private and public. They're in the house meter setups, so these will just be bigger in the two buildings. And they'll have to get the easements for any road, so they'll have to be in there and get those dedicated to you for those systems. They'll have to pay all the construction costs, the cost of getting it inspected, and you get to accept whether, if it has been built correctly, dedication or not.
Is there any involvement of DEP like there was when we first connected
So
sewer?
you're not
wastewater?
actually adding any sewer users to the system, and no pump station, so there's no permit on that side. We will make them verify on the water side, but I don't expect that the question will come for them is, they have to do verification of all the flow that I use, that they meet their fire and other needs for the building.
Because I know that they have been having similar trouble as the borough with a secondary source of drinking water with their current well.
Yes, they have.
My thoughts are, and this is, I don't understand everything with it though, but what kind of a strain will this put on the borough's water system? And the borough's water system, because we just, we're still in a drought. Now you're adding more people onto the water. And what is that gonna do to the system?
Without knowing their daily usage, I think we'll be all right.
The look-through said we'd be okay.
Yeah.
And you're getting that many more customers too, so it helps your finance. Our challenge isn't, how to word this correctly, our supply challenge isn't that the supplies are taxed, it's that we don't have anything if we have a problem at the springs. That's why we wanted the additional well. We'd originally had another well, and it is no longer permittable at all. So that's why it's to have that backup source, because the other well in itself is not enough supply. But we have the adequate sources currently, and we're pursuing the additional.
What is the number 52 and the number 53? What is it?
That's,
How do they come up with
that
that?
is the two buildings, the number of apartment units they have in those buildings.
The number of units, okay.
Yeah.
And remember that EDUs are based on a planning EDU of around 260 gallons per day. Apartments use less, and over 55 age-restricted apartments use even less than that.
Yeah.
The last time we did a study of EDUs, the price for our tapping and connection was 2002, associated with the sewer. Do you think that we would need any study for water?
So I'm going to say this publicly, and I won't get in trouble for it though, but because you're doing a developer's agreement, you ask for the fee that you want there. It's better if it's close to your tapping fee, but then you don't have to pay for the tapping fee study. You haven't done any significant capital improvements to add to the system since your tapping fee. So, and you haven't retired debt on that side that is significant. So I would, without looking at the calculations, I don't see any reason they would change.
even after doing the cammering of all of our
The
sewer lines?
sewer, but that's the sewer, not the
Okay,
water.
just water you're
Yeah,
talking.
and the cammering is maintenance. It's, what it is, so what a tapping fee is it is a new customer paying their share of the value of the system that the existing customers have created. So it in essence is, you're coming into this, you're getting to use this system that everybody else paid for, you're paying for your share of it. It's a beautiful thing for water and sewer. Someday maybe we'll get roads that way, but that's what it's for. And unless you have a change in that, you do something, we do them after either big capital projects that add value to the system, or the retiring of debt. We'll want to look at it, for instance, with the sewer debt's retired. That's an appropriate time to look at the sewer tapping fee. Because if you're paying for it still with debt, it does not go into the tapping fee. It's only things that are paid off.
Now, I know that they're selling off the two properties. Now, the one that is not currently on the campus, that's across the street, anybody have any idea how much property they're purchasing with that building? Are they just purchasing the building, the parking lot, and that little area
It's
there?
already, I think it's already been subdivided from the start. Well, they sent prints, but they're both served by water and sewer by the campus.
Right, and really the agreement is, one of the features of the agreement is gonna be that if there are going to be additional capacity purchases, that's going to be based on availability
Okay.
and at the cost, whatever the cost is currently, that's what they're going to pay, whatever, at the time that they make application for that capacity. So this, giving them the 105 EDUs is not a guarantee of future capacity, and the agreement is drafted that way now, and would be and again, any final draft would be worded
So I was
that way as
thinking,
well.
of expansion.
Right.
Now,
now,
if they get that lot next to them, across the
It's
street.
not a guarantee they can get capacity from the borough, we'll make that clear.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. So I don't want to see.
Well, and it's really a three-way agreement. It involves the borough, the township, and those entities, so it doesn't allow for another entity.
And the borough would be responsible though then for upkeep of all the lines that will run there, correct?
They would
Once it's accepted.
Once it's
yes.
accepted, then the borough is
Right,
responsible.
but it's the typical curb stop to the building is the
Okay.
private owner's responsibility, and out from there is would be the borough's responsibility.
So, right now, I know my sewer charge is based upon my water usage. How are we charging them right now for sewer?
It's metered at the sewer usage point of the system with meters that they had installed at the time of this agreement.
So right now, our men are reading their
Correct, on a daily
Meters.
basis, yep.
daily, okay. And will that be able to be changed over where they can just read the water meters, or?
Well, so these buildings right now, it all goes through the homes meter. That's what they're reading. That will continue. These buildings, it will become the water meter.
What buildings?
These two buildings, right now, their sewer goes through the home's main metering.
Okay,
It's red. That's gonna stay. We expect that number to go down, but the two buildings that are being separated off will be billed by water usage, just like everybody else, because now they will be served by public water and half meter.
But per what Joan has said, it's bulk consumption,
Mhm.
not a meter for every one of the 52 or 53 or
Right.
No.
54
The
bills.
building itself, so two
Exactly.
bills, two bulk customers, two bills.
so meters, that
Two
will
meters,
meter
yeah.
Yes.
building A and building B.
Yep.
So in any way, does this increase our expense?
Long-term, you pick up some maintenance responsibility, but you also pick up all that fee. That should more than cover it, as long as you're charging adequate fees. So you pick up for no additional capital cost, you pick up those 105 EDUs of users.
I don't know when, if there's any part of this, probably the answer is no, but I just will ask anyway. I think sewer, DEP is causing our expenses to go way high for sewer with various chemicals that they want us to add in this and add in that and check for this and check for that we were doing 5 years ago.
They are re-looking at those. It turns out that enough of us complained, yes, they are re-looking at the models that they use because enough of us complained that they are reevaluating that model. So we may see something because it hit a lot of people. But yes, right now there is increased chemical usage at the wastewater plant.
So I didn't know if that could be part of any of this negotiation. I know we're adding water, but we're also, sewer is part of it. We used to bill by sewer, now we're gonna bill by water. If we could adjust the fees for sewer based upon the new DEP formula.
You can adjust your fees anytime
Yeah,
with a rate study.
And that will happen over time, just like every year we discuss this, and sewer and water rates have gone up, and.
They're locked in, aren't they locked until 30?
Right, the contract.
2033?
The agreement with Lutheran Home is locked in, but this is taking it out of the agreement.
The sewer portion,
Yes,
Yes.
all of it's coming
Yeah,
out.
it's being taken.
And we're adding water.
Yes, yes. The Lutheran Home is not part of this agreement.
Right.
Their impact is they will have a lower sewer bill.
Right, and yeah, the two Diacon entities will be parties to the agreement.
And they should be paying, lack of a better word, market rate, so they should be paying your current rates through the whole time.
And we can set a date on this for how long this would be good for.
Yes,
It's not even required to have a date.
it is, because, yeah, we will, I think there would be a date. It would not be in perpetuity, just like the agreement with the Lutheran Home is not in perpetuity. So I think we could have some expiration date on it. I'm not saying we necessarily have to, but we could.
Thank you.
Is that it?
Yep.
Thank you, Joe.
Yeah, that's all I have.
Stacy?
So council has been informed, and this is to inform the community, that Kutztown's pool rates are going up for Kutztown Borough and non-borough people who would like to get passes to their Kutztown pool. One more year for our cooperative agreement by and between Topton and Kutztown would be this summer for 2025. And the agreement says that if they need to raise their rates, then we are no longer using the old rates that we had at our pool. And now if people in Topton would like to be a member of their pool, they would pay the in-borough Kutztown rate that is advertised. Those rates are now official and available at our office, so just like the last few years, come to our office to get an application to then take over to Kutztown. I believe their sale for passes starts May 1st, around that. The park facilities are now open for the season. They're unwinterized, so to speak, so things are going on besides construction on the Oak Alley and Callowhill. That is nearing completion, but still a lot to do. This week, hopefully, will be the last of the major construction, and that's focused on Callowhill now. The plows are off the trucks, the salt spreaders are off the trucks, so now we're getting into the pothole season, repairing and mowing and preparing all the fields. We reported to the county for our recycling for the year, so thank you everybody for recycling, all the businesses and all the residents. We appreciate that. We get a little money from the state eventually. Our treasurer submitted our PERTA annual report, so we appreciate all of the taxes that we receive, and that is from income as well as other sources that we report on. We advertised our audits in the local newspaper as required. We did them all at the same time in one ad. So that was already run in the Patriot. We completed our source water protection plan annual report and submitted that to DEP. And we finally submitted the Affordable Care Act 1094s, 1095s to the IRS. In terms of our pension, we completed our AG, Auditor General, 365 annual submission report. For those in our community who are on our boards and commissions, please be reminded that the state ethics form, the statement of financial interest, is due in the office on May 1st, so all those who are running for election as well must complete that and submit it for public review upon request. Our liquid fuels for 2024 was audited by PennDOT, and we are awaiting the written report, but so far upon exit interview, there were no findings. The consumer confidence report for 2024 is being worked on, it's underway, it's almost complete, and you'll see that in the next newsletter. There will be a link for anyone in the community to review the entire report. And that's it for the report, and then to move on to the next item, we received over $2 million in loan proceeds that have been deposited into our existing general fund account at M&T Bank. The services that are provided by Pliget are generous. When it comes to this loan structure, they will report on our behalf if we gain interest, and we need to draw money down. All those services they will provide if we deposit it with them. So that is the reason why I'm asking council to consider adding under a resolution Pliget as an additional depository to the ones that we've already have been using or may use in the future. Currently, it's M&T Bank and ESSA Bank.
So we need a motion?
Yes,
To adopt, yeah.
I'll make a motion.
I'll second it.
All in favor? Opposed? Motion carried.
And then, as a second step, I would prefer to have it in writing as a motion that Pliget has been designated to receive the loan proceeds. We will do the transfers and keep it separate. The Public Works, Streets, Water, and Sewer in 3 separate accounts to track.
Yes.
Do you want to make a separate motion or amend the motion for adoption of the
Second motion.
second motion?
I'll make the motion.
Second. Julie second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Thank you very much. Yes, thank you.
Committee report?
Excuse me, I'd just like to make it clear to the public that's watching this and who will get the minutes to this meeting that we have agreed to borrow $2 million in money to make repairs to our community. Some of them are for the streets. Some of those repairs are for water lines that need to be replaced. And in order to pay for the money we've just borrowed, there's going to be an increase in our water bills at a minimum, and possibly more than that. And so, in order to pay back the loan for the money we're borrowing, the public needs to be aware that our water bills will be going up in order to raise the revenue to pay for this large loan that we have to take out. So it's something I think we need to get ahead of and let the community know so we can. And also, as far as some of these increases, it will affect the municipal authority. What did they say, Stacy, the municipal authority? Are they going to be meeting to discuss increase increases for,
As soon as council has the information to discuss with them,
so what's the next step for us to do with regard to coming up with an idea on what we have to increase our,
you can have a joint meeting, or they do a resolution at their meeting to do an approval of what council has set rates to be. So you could do a joint meeting to discuss together.
You could have it, yes, you could
and
have
what would the
it.
council
We've
want
had
to do?
to-
We should discuss that, because that's gotta be discussed, because the community's gonna have an increase, and we need to get ahead of that. So, just wanna put that out there.
And it should be ahead of the budget process.
Well, and we also should maybe have a meeting where we make the public aware, maybe we could post something on our Facebook page, or whatever we can get, people to come and we'll need, I guess, the office will have to come up with an idea of what they think the increase would need to be in order to generate the revenue we need.
Right, and that's something that probably should be discussed, those calculations are probably something that should be discussed in the context of a joint meeting. And I agree, with the budget process starting in the fall, perhaps over the summer would be the time for that joint meeting.
So maybe we could put something in motion, Scott, you wanna look into that, with
And
a meeting that you can have with them?
okay,
I think we have to get ahead of it.
sooner than later.
Yeah.
Well, it's gonna take time, we set it up for midsummer, and holidays, vacations, and it's difficult, but before budget for sure.
Yeah, budget starts like August, if you want to start, get ahead of that, you know.
So June, July, somewhere in there, we probably should meet, so maybe we could start making arrangements on that. I
And
just want to bring it up if you all think that that's,
End of May, early June.
thank you, that's all, Scott, I wanted to mention.
I'll take care of it. Committee reports, Carol?
Nothing this time for MS4, for source water protection plan. As Stacy mentioned, the annual report was submitted, and I wanted to really commend Stacy on an amazing job she did putting that report together. She worked really hard, I collected information, and we did a lot of education last year for source water protection. And I just appreciate all the work you put into it, Stacy.
Thanks, Carol.
That's it.
Personnel, Elaine?
So, so on my report, the first thing is a nepotism policy. There were two different versions that were submitted to council. Joan had made some comments about the first one and felt that we should go with the less restrictive policy. So take a look at that. If you have any comments that you want to email me regarding that. So the nepotism policy is, in the first sentence here, in the interest of providing reasonable protections against nepotism, we want to establish a policy. And this policy would be to try to make sure that people aren't being treated with favoritism, and being hired, or being influenced by family relationships and so forth. So this goes in alignment with some evidence that Joe had provided.
Right, I provided several policies, one which was a very strict policy. The other two that were more concerned with making sure that no one who was a relative or spouse or cohabitant could be a supervisor of the other person. Many municipalities, many businesses have anti-nepotism policies, but you have to be careful when you have enough difficulty finding employees that you're not screening out a large number of people, and also that you are not overly restricting consenting relationships between individuals who are and never will be in the same supervisory chain. So there's a balance that needs to be stricken with anti-nepotism policies.
So we're not currently aware of any issues, but this is something just to protect us moving forward. So take a look at this, and then anything that you think needs to be edited, please let me know, and then I'll make some changes. And then at that point, once that's done, I'll send this to the office, and then the office will forward it to you for your legal view on that.
Right.
And then it'll be ready for adoption if you want to do that. Second on my list here is the wastewater treatment plant. We have an open position. We placed an ad. We have no viable inquiries. We had a number of inquiries for the position that had really, I thought it was kind of strange that people with no experience, with really nothing to, that really related to what we were looking for were applying. But then I was speaking to some people that are on unemployment. And now apparently there's a requirement that if you're on unemployment, you have to apply for so many jobs a week. So there are many people applying for jobs that they have absolutely no credentials for. And I wonder if that may have added to some of these inquiries from people that really had no qualifications at all for that and really didn't follow the letter of what we were asking for. So we're going to continue to run that ad.
Still with a certification required for wastewater treatment?
Well, that, I think that,
Can we say for free?
I think that there are some things with regard to this position that we should probably discuss in executive session, since a big part of the conversation that we had on what we've done here as far as not filling the second position was part of what we were working on in executive session with the negotiation. So I don't think it would be right to really say anything more about that. I think we should have, so I'd like to request an executive session that to discuss that further, but I would like to continue to keep the ad out that is currently out there, if you're all okay with that, for now, until we have a conversation.
Just my thoughts, here we are, May, we've been talking about this since December, and now
We've actually been talking about it since September, and there's a reason why we're where we're at now. We'll discuss.
I know, but
So,
we're gonna be in that same situation at the end of the year that we were in last year,
right.
and it's not fair to him.
So I think we should discuss some options in executive session on maybe, because there are some other options that,
What about Alex looking at some of the applicants that might be doable, you know, that maybe.
well, we have to have a
do it or
discussion, I
has
think,
some
in executive
experience.
session.
Let Alex take a look at them, see how he feels about it, because in the long run, he's gonna be the one that is in the position that's gonna be trained.
If you're gonna be talking about qualifications of a particular candidate and maybe changing qualifications of the position because of it, I think Elaine's right, it should be discussed in executive session if you're getting into individuals. If you're just talking about job descriptions generically, that wouldn't be, but if you're talking about individuals, you should.
No, I'm not talking about any individual person, I'm just saying, have Alex look at some of the.
Well, we have to keep in mind that we are we are owners of utility companies. And as an employer, we have some decisions that we have to make. And a lot of what needs to be done here, because of budgetary constraints and some other things we need, I think we really should discuss it privately.
Stacy, does the ad now say, although they're not necessarily paying attention to it, that certification, wastewater plant certification is required?
Correct. And other things are preferred, strongly recommended, etc.
How council feels that we should change that to strongly preferred or some such. There could be somebody out there with 3 years experience and they within whatever. Didn't get the certification.
Executive session
Yeah.
to discuss it.
So,
Well, she was talking about placing the ad again, and we have to vote on that,
Well, again,
determine that.
Well,
You
the
don't
ad's
change
out,
it.
so we
Yeah,
can
the ad's
Yeah, we'll
continue
let
to
it
keep the
ride.
ad
Let
out.
it ride, yeah.
That's for now until we make a change. So that would conclude that, matter. The next thing on my list is administrative assistant position. We had someone that we had interviewed that is no longer able to accept it, so I guess we continue the ad. And maybe we follow up with that candidate to see maybe in a week or so if anything changes with their position. And then we can revisit that if that's something that can come back around. And try to maybe follow up with that person.
And I really, it's hard getting even any applications. I think the wage rate is still low.
Well,
Just
the-
gonna
just to
Put
refresh.
that out there,
The wage rate was up to, what was the maximum?
$18 an hour.
18. Do we want to increase that?
I think we should start at 18.
Should we, we could make the, want to make the range up to as much as 19 to at least
I
limit that? Or
18 to 20. I mean, even starting at
least.
18 is low.
This is
Really? Yeah, and what are they paying at Amazon Warehouse,
Yeah.
Target?
Yeah, 18 is low. It really is. I would even go for 20, to start at 20.
I just
Really
entry
level.
level.
kind of position.
Entry-level positions are paying 20
This
plus
is
dollars an hour.
for people running on their feet all day, yeah.
No, this is entry-level position.
Maybe we should discuss that in executive
For that.
session, because that's a personnel
Right.
related matter, so.
Wage rates.
Discuss that
Again,
and
yeah,
we
so-
wage rates should not be we'll
Okay,
discuss
so
wage rates in
we'll move
executive
past
session.
that. And then my last item here would be, there's an employee evaluation form that was provided. That you all had an opportunity to look at that. It's a pretty generic, assessment review, and this is what our manager would use for our employees.
And the copy that you have in your packets has been reviewed
I
by
reviewed
Joe,
it and I made some
and you can
changes to
see
it.
the edits.
One thing I just thought was a little, kind of, I don't know if it was the right place, a little redundant, was under performance factors. The line, the third bullet point, address subordinates, coworkers, superiors in a courtesy, respectful manner. That kind of is covered under relationship with customers, colleagues, and coworkers, the same verbiage. So I didn't know if that was reviewed in that section, but
Yeah,
It's just a- that's
I'd
just
say it probably belongs in both, one's customers and coworkers, one's coworkers and superiors and subordinates.
but I thought it looked pretty good. I really didn't see anything.
One small typo, performance factors,
Which page?
the top page,
Okay.
job knowledge and skills, the third box, second line down, respect to in the workplace. Spent two should line, respecting
In the
the
workplace, yeah.
Thank you.
That is Joe?
We generally reviewed this, and other than those edits, we're good to go.
I had reviewed it, took out some parts that weren't applicable to employment with the borough.
If that's acceptable, then I'll make a motion that we approve this.
Any issues? And we have any issues?
We had something similar to this, I don't know, you probably saw it in the employee files from the past, because managers used to do periodic reviews for employees. This is probably falls close to what that was, I haven't seen that in a while. We were using stuff over.
I have a motion to accept this.
And a second.
And a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
I think lose my.
Carried. Streets, Jewel?
So you compile the lists with Scott's help, and the 2019 Barry Isaac pavement conditions evaluation. So between those two things and with the water projects, we compiled a list of two main situations. So projects we can do with our co-op, and then projects that we're gonna have to contract out, mainly being the ones associated with the water projects. So if we could have a motion to maybe pick some, or have this be our list, so that then the co-op can try to get it on the schedule. Right. And if you have any questions, Beth is here too. So it would be mill and overlay the roads done by the co-op. And what we were thinking was the thickness of the roads would be a 3-inch mill and overlay. So they'll be nice and hardy.
I would definitely start with
I'll
the
see what they think.
I would say start with the very poor, see if we can get those on the list. I mean, I don't know.
I think what I would mention, Julie, on these is the roads that are most heavily traveled, with the most volume of cars would probably be the ones, maybe the ones you want to target first. But it looks like most of those are the contracted road projects, like, that's why we look Main Street, that's a main road.
Well,
Yeah.
So just to make sure everyone's aware, with mill and overlay, the base needs to still be good. So you can't have heavily rutted, you can't have things that are badly damaged, such that you need to redo it. So it's gonna sound bad, but the worst roads, you're not gonna be able to mill and overlay. So what you're doing with a mill and overlay is you're taking the wearing, the top off, and you're putting a new wearing surface on. So you're extending the life of the road because you're preventing water from getting underneath, but you're building off of a strong base. It's like if you're going out and doing chip and seal, you're just sealing the road up and extending the life because you're preventing water and wear from getting into that base. But once it's hit the base, no use of doing much anything until you correct the base problems. So that's why you might see roads that don't feel like they're your worst, not get there because it doesn't do any good to mill and overlay over a bad base.
So like the roads that they have very poor would not
Well, no,
be a
so
place to start.
you can get there different ways. So it's just, that's why though, there may be some that aren't on there that you're thinking, well, that's the worst road we got. Well, that's why it wouldn't be on for a mill and overlay,
Because
because
you
it's
can't.
the worst road you've got. And mill and overlay is not gonna do any good, it's gonna last a year,
Oh, okay.
because the base is just gonna break it all up.
And these are the ones they did the core studies on, and they've gone through and evaluated the
Okay.
streets.
Yeah.
Everything that says very
Thank you.
board affair.
It's true.
And if you want to see the study, there's nice pictures. Okay.
And you gotta remember that the 2025 is iffy now already, whether it'll get done or not.
We'll get
So-
some done, right? Right?
Well,
I said we will get a couple done, right?
Yeah, but, you know,
Well, we're
we
looking at 3
actually,
years, so
Yes.
it's
we actually should start thinking about 2026, because, as well, because those, some of them are gonna be contracted out, and you wanna get on their schedule, so we gotta get our ducks in a row, to say it nicely.
Yeah, we have a wish list even after this, so if we can prove this, we can go on.
So,
Is there any ambient temperature requirement, nighttime temperature to doing any mill and overlay?
Yeah, but you're gonna do it during the good weather.
yeah, I mean, I'm just about there.
We'll say yes, but I think the asphalt plant stayed open almost all year. I had people doing mill and overlay up around Hazelton in December and January, so I was completely amazed. But, yeah. But there are, and the guys just won't do that type of, but we're getting close. May is generally acceptable, safe, without a problem.
motion for 2025 projects?
I'll make that motion.
Second.
What projects are we including in this motion?
You have this paper, this whole sheet. The top one, the top is 2025, right, Julie?
Right, so that it would just
And
trickle.
then the contracted would start in 2026.
Okay. It says 3-year Topton Borough project.
Right,
And then there's some in 2027 as well.
So I was wondering what we're talking about for 2025 that we're voting on right now.
What's at the top is 2025.
So we're only voting on the ones, say, 2025.
And all of them, whether it says poor or very poor. The very poor is okay?
Based on the report and Scott's assessment, I would trust that
Okay.
they're okay. If that's
Okay.
what they're going to do.
All right, thank you.
There is always a risk they're gonna do the milling and there'll be some spot repairs, but that's one of the things you run into when you do road work.
So Julie, it's just this top one?
so,
This is 2025, all this?
so we can address it in 2025 because there's gonna be a lot of logistics for the contracted ones. So as a council, if we would approve this right now, not to say that all this is a big wish list for 2025. So it most likely, both will trickle into 2026 and possibly even 2025.
Okay.
And then if we have some cash left over,
Okay,
you know,
just so it's clear, so this is.
yes, sorry, I'm
No,
You can set it up as a long-term plan. One of the values I was talking to her about is we can have your plan posted into the one-call system. They take those, and that helps you to give a communication then to UGI that says, hey, this is our paving plan over the next number of years. And so if they're looking to do a gas line project, they know you've got a plan to do that street, know to reach out, and maybe you could do some modifications. It's done well, we do that in the Borough of Macungie, and we do that in the Southbury Township. There they have a 10-year plan that rolls, so, but, we can give that notification to those utilities to help avoid the situation where you do the paving one year and the next year they come in and dig it up, or want to come in and dig it up.
And I'll directly communicate with their project engineer that communicates with me every year to ask for,
Yep.
ahead of any paving, please let us know what it's going to be.
Yep.
Anything else? We have a motion and a second one.
Correct.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Any Julie?
yeah, I'm good.
Kathy? Finance?
I would like to make a motion to accept the list of bills and transfers as presented to council.
I'll make a motion.
A second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
Did Carol give you anything?
No, she didn't, but I was thinking maybe Julie could talk about
Okay.
she has.
So her meet and greet was canceled, but that I can report. And she has the cleanup, tidy up Topton, April 16th, starting at 9, I don't know.
I think it's 9 to
I
12.
thought
Okay, 9 to 12.
27, April 27.
April
Yeah, not
26th.
this Saturday, the following Saturday.
Correct, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. And then with the 150th anniversary, we are continuing to have meetings every second Thursday of the month. We have 2 planned for next month though, because we're gonna do Community Day this year, and we're planning that as a committee as well. So the next meeting for that is May 8th at 6:30. So, speaking of the Community Day and yard sale, we would like to close South Home Avenue from Way Street to Broad Alley from 7 a.m. through 3 p.m. So the event will be 8 to 2, so it gives the creditors time to set up, an hour to set up and an hour to close down. And we would also like to request, see if the fire police would be able to be available on that day. I don't know the procedure.
You don't request it from.
Okay, we should just go through, ask the fire. Okay.
We have to go through the fire company, who then have to communicate with other fire companies to get enough fire police.
Okay. We'll work on that. So,
I already took care of it.
yay, thank you very
I
much.
took a picture of this and sent it to the guys.
That's awesome.
They have a meeting tonight, so I told them to bring it up.
That's perfect.
Thank you.
Thanks, Randy.
See, everything's in
Thank
line.
you.
Wait, I just didn't know if the request.
No, it's okay. A motion to close the street,
I'll make a motion to close the street.
second. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carried.
And I'll take care of notifying the residents.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Thank you very much.
I'll log it.
All right.
The logging started up at the watershed, seems to be going pretty good. I talked with Jacob today, but I was up there today and they weren't there, but I spoke with Jacob and he's happy with the progress, so it's going well. The only other thing, another comment, is this Oak Alley project. It's a shame residents weren't notified, or maybe they were, I don't know, but there are some residents that are gonna struggle to get out of their garage. And the other thing is, if the gate's not going back on, a sign should go up, because people coming to the softball games will see a curb and just assume they can park there. So, if we can't get the gate up, we should at least put a no parking beyond this point sign, or something similar. Or that's gonna be another headache. And that's all I have. Scott?
Staff are currently reading the meters, and the bills will be out later this month around the 25th. And as a reminder to check any outdoor water fixtures for damages or leaks. That's all.
Thank you. Charlie, have your report?
We did get the annual reporting submitted. Did I get you a copy of that? I will get that over to you. We worked with Alex to get all that together to go out. We have now permission to do the monitoring well sampling, so I gotta get that proposal over to you. He's putting it together now. So that'll be, are you gonna do a second meeting this month at all?
We hadn't planned on it, but that's up to council.
I may have things like that in Keller Street, grant paperwork for that. MS4, Christine will be working with you to get the inspection set up probably in June, and making sure she's got the comprehensive list of stuff to go through. We have not heard back on the remainder of East Barkley grant application. We're working on Keller Street to Kroll for the small water and sewer. Washington Street is still on schedule for equipment in July. We're looking to start that bid process later this month, so for the contractors on that. So I expect to have that for your approval at May, to do the bid, and then we'll award for June. We have started, we met with Alex on the chlorine contact chamber, and you guys are seeing the Callowhill. The speed humps will enliven people driving a little bit until they get used to it. There are markings coming and all, they're not just gonna be those black humps that are in the road, but you'll
A
probably.
lot of paint.
We'll probably have some folks tonight and tomorrow morning who will be wondering what's going on and why, because the paint's not down yet. So, and we had words with the contractor for not giving a schedule ahead to everybody.
Any status on the park master plan?
I do not have, I asked, but Brian didn't get back with me.
Okay.
Sorry, that's my fault. I will get that to you.
Thank you.
I will get you a copy of this also. I just realized I didn't mail that to you. So I'll add that to this order and send it.
Thank you.
I thought that bump was gonna be smaller than that.
That's very small. Yeah, there are some that, Spring Creek Road in Lower McKenzie has a series of them that are about 2 to 3 times taller than that. Yeah. But no, those are plowable, should be based on what we've got, so.
Would you be able to give us a copy of the report?
The report, so.
That you normally give us, that we don't have?
Yes, no, that's what I said, I failed to send it to Stacy.
Yeah, because
So
I'd love
will-
to keep track of
I
those
will-
dates and
I
then
will
put
get
on
it to
there,
you.
it's very helpful,
Yeah.
thank you.
That way she can put it in the minutes too, so I can send it over in Word version for that. I apologize, it did not do that.
Thank you.
Hometown Heroes, the only thing to update there is, at the state conference this year, they're gonna honor the whole state of Pennsylvania. If the community does hometown hero banners, and we had 9 people that were interested, so I submitted the pictures this morning. If there's anybody else, we got a couple days to submit it yet, so just let me know. I'll get the picture and send it up. That's all I got on that. Darrell, Preservation Board?
Yes, Larry did not send this month.
I got this.
Okay, but at the bottom, I'm sorry. The main thing for the preservation board, we had no meeting, and other than that is the dollar amount in the bank account, which is what we are really concerned with, is the preservation board, and that was not the bottom. At least the copy I got.
It was not cut off.
Yeah, usually here, but,
Have a motion to adjourn?
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Did you see any issue with this? I drove over them on the way here to make sure that they were low. I should be. Yeah. I saw Scott drive over the humps. He was in front of him.